feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me.
Ah, yes. And you know, this is so special. I do feel that Spirit moving in me. And I feel the spirit of Dr. Martin Luther King with that I have a dream. And there's so much that's tied in with that. And this morning, when I woke up and I read the daily word for today, I have to read it to you. Dream. The affirmation, I turn my dreams into reality. Some of the most audacious, bold, history-making events began as dreams, born in the imaginations of those who understood the promise and potential of humanity and worked to realize their vision. Even if my dreams do not change the world, they have the power to change my life. Today, I remember those whose dreams were fueled by their hard work, faith, and determination. I look to their example when my dreams feel far away and I'm running low on hope. I rekindle my dreams through my imagination, which keeps them vivid. My strength helps me remain committed to their realization, and my zeal renews my enthusiasm to work towards creating the life and the world of my dreams. And from Joel 2:28, your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions. It's a beautiful reading. And as we are here still in the month of faith, Reverend Maggie and I have the talk title of It Starts with a Dream. And it does start with a dream. And as we know in our lives, and certainly in Reverend Maggie and my life, we had a significant dream to become ordained unity ministers. And it doesn't end there. The dream is just the start. It starts with the dream.
Absolutely. And it's perfect that we're tying our dreams to faith, because sometimes our dreams can feel scary. And we've talked about, for the last several weeks, the process of affirmations and denials, the process of letting go, the process of making room. And in faith, when we feel that nudge from Spirit, when you have that message that just keeps coming through again and again, like it's time, it feels a little intimidating, and we get busy questioning ourselves. So we're inviting everyone to remember what we've talked about for the last several weeks, know that we have the tools, and we are ready to dream big.
I love it. And we have this reading. It says this: it starts with a dream. Add faith, and it becomes belief. Add action, and it becomes part of life. Add persistence, and it becomes a goal in sight. Add patience and time, and it ends with a dream come true. Now, we had this here before we ever saw the daily word. It's the same process.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And so we have some news to share regarding this dream and the process of this dream. As Reverend Gary said, we both started on the journey to becoming a unity minister. And probably, I don't know about you, but I was like, oh no, that's not my dream. That's God's dream. And it took a place of coming into an acceptance and embracing that, and then stepping into faith and believing that I could do this. And my dream all along the way was to become a senior minister of my own Unity Church, my own community. So through embracing faith and developing that belief, accepting the actions that started to integrate the process of my life and the perseverance to reach the finish line. I have great news and sad news that I have reached that goal and been offered the opportunity to take my own ministry as a senior minister. And so at the end of the month, February 7th, will be my last Sunday here. I'm moving to Orlando, Florida, where I will assume the helm of senior minister of Christ Church Unity in Orlando.
I love it.
And it's a dream come true.
It is.
It's a dream come true. And it has emotions with it. So, part of what you have to do is decide that we're ready, and we're ready to be that. So we lean on this wisdom from Ralph Waldo Emerson, where he says the only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be. Big dreams take some time for us to get acclimated to even the idea. But there are little things that come up in our lives, and we have to decide if we're going to think small or if we're going to think big. If we're going to stay in the limitation of our human faculties or remember our divine partnership with God, and that we are ultimately co-creators of our experience and our reality. And we have deep, rich spiritual toolboxes. And everything that's going on in our lives every single day is strengthening us. It's preparing us and reminding us that we know how to get through the big stuff. Then it is for us as each individual soul to come to terms with and embrace the idea, the dream that we want to accept as reality. When we do that, we are embracing our destiny. We are saying, okay, God, I let go of the outcome. Take over, and I enjoy the ride. And that's my favorite part, is the releasing the need for control and seeing the divine unfolding in my life.
I think you're right on it. And this is so important for us to realize that destiny is really that place where we become in alignment with our highest connection with God. We can see the powerful destiny of Dr. Martin Luther King following his destiny. We know and have read about and appreciate and respect Mother Teresa's destiny. But you don't have to be changing the world like those individuals. It could be our board member, Christopher Dean, who's now accepted the internship on his way to be a CPA with great joy in his heart. Or the person who's getting ready to plant their garden, awaiting for spring and manifesting that destiny because it's everything in them to birth for that garden. It can be big or small, but this wisdom from Ralph Waldo Emerson is so powerful because when we decide to step into and follow that guidance, anything is possible that we step towards.
That's right.
And I wanted to bring in the powerful wisdom of Harriet Tubman. Now, if you don't know, Harriet Tubman was a slave who chose freedom. And then not only for herself, over and over and over again, she led a train of other slaves into freedom against all odds. And she says, every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars to change the world. Because when we do our destiny, when we have a dream, that when I got the call to be an ordained Unity minister, that's what it was. It was a call. It wasn't my thought of, oh, gee, what am I going to do? And when it came to me, I recognized that this was a divine direction This was divine guidance, and it was a great dream. And then to make it manifest was not just, boop, okay, now an ordained unit minister. I mean, you can go online and you can register and you can become an ordained minister, but not a unity minister. It took me 6 years of lots of books, lots of classes, lots of practicum, lots of dedication to do what I needed to do. And even when it was challenging, or I thought, what am I doing? Why did I ever think this was a good idea? I had the patience, I had the passion to go through and do what I needed to do to get to this point where I achieved this achievement.
Mm-hmm.
And what I know is it's the right place. It's exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And that is because it's my destiny.
Absolutely. And I think about how, when I read this quote, I think about saying no. What if we said no? What if Harriet Tubman had said no? No, God, I feel the call. I hear your voice, and I'm not going to run. Not only am I not going to run, but I'm not brave enough, strong enough, fast enough, willing enough to come back for others over and over and over again. What a sad outcome for us to withhold our gift, withhold our destiny, with a short-sightedness about us that denies the growth, the innovation, the freedom that comes to others when we are willing to be brave and to say, all right, this feels crazy to me. I don't feel equipped. I don't think this is a good time. We say we're ready. I feel you, God. I hear you, God. I see you in the face of my friends and my neighbors and my family and my congregation saying, go, be big, and fly. I have a good friend that reminded me in the many times that I didn't think I could get through my training to become a unity minister. And she said, Maggie, God does not call the equipped. God equips the called. So to remember that we are strong enough, that we have faith enough, determination enough, tenacity enough to do and move through whatever we are asked to do. Can you imagine Steve Jobs thinking, I'm going to put personal computers in everybody's home, and how many people told him he was crazy? Mm-hmm. Can you imagine your life without that man's vision? I don't want to imagine a world without each of your visions. And so we move on to Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11, where we gain some assurance hearing this scripture. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. So you all know me well enough by now to know that I look at the other side of the coin and where there's negative space. This is God saying, I'm not setting you up for failure. This is God saying, I gave you the divine faculty of imagination and your biological brain. When you feel that niggle, when you see that picture, when you feel that pull to something new, something greater, reaching for the stars, know that you are in alignment with me, with my truth for you. And you will succeed. You will be abundantly blessed beyond measure. And when you start to have that dream vision, we are often about 20 steps behind God, aren't we? It's like we're kind of like Barney Rubble, pedaling hard to catch up and go and find each time we reach the next precipice that it's all been worked out. If it calls for us to slow down, we'll slow down. If it calls for another class, we take the class. If it calls for us to leap, take that leap of faith, here is the assurance in Scripture that God has got the lily pad somewhere ready for us to land. And when we do that, we strengthen that faith muscle. We strengthen that co-creative power. And then the next dream that will surface, we may embrace a little more smoothly, with a little less argument and more faith to allow God to just do the good work in our life.
I think that is right on. And what I love about this and what it reminds me is I don't need to worry about the future. That's God's job. Because God's always ahead of us, around us, and through us. Ours is to capitalize on what's our calling, what's our yearning, what do we want? And within that is the small, a little bigger, or maybe something much bigger. But we're always equipped and always ready to follow that guidance and that progress. I don't know. It's the one I have to most watch out for is me. Because I'm the one who will put the biggest brakes on my progress or my stepping into fullness. And it could be just being realized in our oneness with God, just. Like that, just like that. I know that whenever we're ready, whenever we're willing, we have all that we need because that divine presence is giving us the guidance, the strength, the nurturance, and the foundation to be all that we can be. And to bring this talk to a circle, to a close, I got a great chance to meet Christopher Reeve. He was a great guy. I was working in New York in the theater in the 80s, and I worked for Circle Repertory Theater, and he was one of the actors in the theater. And we were doing a direct mail campaign. When we were doing it, he was off in Europe doing Death Trap, that film. So when he came in, I had set up for someone to be there to greet him and set him up so he could write little personal notes. Please send money to Circle Repertory Theater. Well, when he came in, my friend Cheryl was at the front desk where the receptionist was, and when Chris came into the building, the receptionist dropped the mail in her hands and couldn't speak. And Cheryl had to call me and say, Christopher Reeve is here for you. And when I get out there, Cheryl is on the floor laughing because the receptionist took one look at Christopher Reeve and he was so gorgeous she couldn't function. Now, I have to say that Christopher Reeve, when I met him at that time in life, he truly was the most handsome man I had ever met. His eyes were so blue, there just isn't a bluer than his eyes. And we sat in the room together, and he would write, and I just did my work, and we talked, and he was a commercial airline pilot. He had great success with Superman, and he still rode the subway. He still did his life as his life because he didn't want the paparazzi to take control over him making a step. And if Christopher Reeve can do that, and then when he became a paraplegic after the horsing accident, he continued to be a bright light, a beacon of hope in changing our way of relating to people who are disabled. And he says, so many of our dreams at first seem impossible. Then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they will soon become inevitable. So whether we're stepping into the role of Superman, or we're just stepping into the role of planting an incredible garden, or we're stepping into the role of changing legislation so that people with disability can live a more whole life. We have within us to do whatever we need to do. And it all starts with a dream. And as Martin Luther King said, I have a dream. We start with the dream, and we can embrace the biggest idea and the smallest idea, and let it be our now moment. One with God, aligned in our faith, and being that.
I love this. I love that an icon as heroic as Christopher Reeves can share the process of assimilating to the idea, incorporating it, and being willing to tie on our cape and be ready to go and ready to fly. A lot of what we are asked to do seems wild and outlandish and too scary. And then when it lays hold of us and doesn't just become a flitting thought that rolls on by, the improbability starts that motion. It's like a locomotive building steam. But for me, in these past weeks, it's felt like the tsunami, when the energy of the ocean literally brings back upon itself more water. And I don't mean that I'm getting ready to embark in some catastrophic disaster, but it is the magnitude of gaining all of my courage and all of my will and daring to see myself through your eyes that informs me of my capability. And when we come together with the idea, with the energy, and the information that we're given from all of those around us, we realize that the train is already moving down the tracks. The inevitable is already in process. We are evolving. We're evolving individuals. We didn't come here to just stand still. Unity is a movement, not the unity standstill. And we all have an agreement to be on this planet at this essential time in history to help raise consciousness, level out equality. And whether you are called to be a minister or a mama or a daddy or plant a garden, your dreams matter. And I hope that you will consider sharing those out loud with all of us now and in the future.
Step out on the water, release your faith. Every step is stronger. Step out on the water.